Welcome inside the Rambler Sports Locker, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Steve Manny, and with Thanksgiving right around the corner, that means that today is National Clean Your Refrigerator Day. Did you know that?
And I am pretty sure that it's not real.
It's real.
It's actually make up your own holiday day, too, I heard. So I'm also Jillian Schwartz, and here's what's happening this week in Loyola Athletics. Well, the start of the Ramblers basketball season is always an exciting time at Loyola, but thanks to the men's team's top recruiting class in the Horizon League, the excitement has gone to a whole new level. Last week, the Ramblers opened their season in front of a packed Gentile Arena against the Toledo Rockets. Last season, Loyola's success lived and died with senior forward Ben Averkamp, who led the team in points, rebounds, and block shots. Friday's game was no different, as Ben had a team high of 15 points, 9 boards, and a block. But the supporting cast showed up too. Every player who attempted at least one shot ended up with 7 or more points. 3 days later, the Ramblers were on the court again against Rockhurst. Kayla Kate was at the game and has more.
We fly high, no lie, you know this, Ramblin'. The Loyola's men's basketball team took on Rockhurst University Hawks Monday night in Gentile Arena. After an ankle injury in the beginning of the second half, junior point guard Cully Payne was taken out of the game. According to Phoenix sports editor Brendan Bond, Coach Porter Moser says that Payne's injury is not one that the team can afford at this point in the season. Despite the setback, seniors Ben Averkamp and Jordan Hicks led the team to a 64-41 victory. Rambler fan Kristen Georgianis thinks that the team's older players will be their biggest advantage this season.
I think, since they have a lot of good senior leadership and they started out 2-0, I think I'm pretty optimistic that they'll continue with this streak, hopefully in conference too, that they'll continue to do well.
In addition to leading his team into multiple wins, Averkamp reached his 1,000th career point at the Fair State game. The team took on 7 freshman players this season, which makes them a very young team. But losing big-name players from this last season hasn't stopped Loyola fans from coming out to support the team. Loyola student Zach Davis says despite their struggles with the rookie team, their chemistry will ultimately lead to their success.
But the way they played the second half, the Ramblers looked great. I think once they get in their groove, they play really, really well together. So I think we're going to experience some growing pains. Obviously, we've got a really young team, but I'm excited.
The Ramblers are heading down to Florida for the University of South Florida tournament with a 3-0 winning streak to face Western Michigan and USF. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Kayla Kate.
Those highlights may not have done him justice, but the big surprise of that game was 6'1" freshman Jeff Kiki White. He came off the bench and saw some extended minutes after starting point guard Cully Payne suffered an ankle injury. White led the team with 5 assists and also scored 8 points on 4 field goals and even corralled 3 rebounds, giving the Ramblers some big boards from the guard position. Here's White and Coach Porter Moser on the freshman's breakout game.
I mean, the points going to come. I'm more so getting my team involved, so I'm pretty happy to make sure they're getting off to a good start, then I get going.
We always tell guys coming off the bench, get your mind in the game before your body. And I think Kiki's really done that. I mean, he's come in right out of the gate, both games, and been an instant contributor with what we want him to do.
To put it in perspective, here's the player efficiency ratings for the top Ramblers in the first couple of games. This rating combines each individual statistic for each players, and we know that Ben Averkamp has been a force, but who would have thought that through the first couple of games, White would be sitting in the second spot ahead of Jordan Hicks and Joe Krisman. White didn't lead the team in any one single category, but rates highly in pretty much every other stat and is shooting just under 60%. So let's take a look at this guy known as Kiki. He's a point guard from Peoria, Illinois, and the son of a basketball standout for the Bradley Braves. White was overlooked by a lot of schools because of his diminutive stature, but he's listed as what might be a generous 6'1", but he makes up for it with his quickness and playmaking ability. He says that his basketball idol is Kobe Bryant, and he wants to change the sports culture here at Loyola for the better. He'll continue to do that this weekend when the team heads down to Florida for 3 games at the University of South Florida tournament in Tampa.
Well, we're all a little sad, but the men's soccer season ended Sunday after they fell to second-seeded Cleveland State 2-0 in the final round of the Horizon League tournament. The Ramblers put up a hard fight, holding back the Vikings and keeping the score at double zeros at halftime, but the Vikings outshot the Ramblers 6-3. The Ramblers depended on their defense in the second half, but the Vikings scooted by to get the first goal in the 50th minute. The Vikings extended their lead with a tally in the 83rd minute, and that capped off the match. After the game, though, senior Nick Sanchez, junior Kyle Spoo, and freshman Ryan Howe were named Horizon League All-Tournament Team for being standout players in the game, while freshman Jake Savino earned the Horizon League newcomer title.
The men's basketball team was off to a hot start, and the women's basketball team is Well, they're off to an aggressively medium start this season. They also opened their season play last week in Pennsylvania against Lafayette College and cruised an early halftime lead, but the team went ice cold in the second half and were outscored 35-15, eventually falling by a score of 62-51. Had it not been for Patrice King and Simone Law, the score might have been a little bit ugly. They both played 37 minutes and collected 11 points and 9 rebounds. Struggles continued 2 nights later when Loyola continued their Pennsylvania road trip at LaSalle University. Poor shooting put the Ramblers behind early in the opening minutes, but a 16-3 run in the second half was enough to help Loyola get over LaSalle and win by a score of 56-50. Law and King put up almost identical stat lines once again, grabbing 9 rebounds apiece, but Simone outscored Patrice 11-9. The women will take their 1-1 records back to campus this weekend against Southern Illinois. With the Ramblers back in Chicago, Simone Law was able to sit down with our own Courtney Griffin to discuss that home opener.
Women's basketball has their home opener this weekend, and I'm here with sophomore forward Simone Law to talk about their upcoming game. Hi Simone, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So the season started on November 9th, and it started with a loss against Lafayette. So how did this affect your team from the start?
I mean, we wanted to come out strong with the win, but like it was a 6'7" girl, so like height was like a big thing. Like we had to get adjusted to that, so that was something that like we really need to focus on. But other than that, we really couldn't hit shots, but we bounced back next game, so we didn't try to keep our heads down, so stay positive.
Yeah, and we saw that bounce back in the next game against LaSalle. You guys were able to change the tide a little bit there just a few days later. So what do you think happened? What was the difference in that game?
I feel like we came out hungry, like we really wanted to win. We didn't want to come back home 0-2, so we were really hungry for the victory. And I just think everybody stayed positive. We just didn't put our heads down, so that was like a big difference, just staying positive with one another. So.
You really are emphasizing positivity. What do you guys do to stay positive?
Well, I think like this year we're like a lot closer, so like we try to hang out outside of basketball, so just staying close, just talking to one another, just like it helps a lot. Just saying like you have somebody in your corner being like having confidence in you. It's a big thing. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. So you're saying this year's team, let's look at last year. You guys had a 13-17 record. So how does this year's team differ from last year's team?
I just, like I said, just us bonding this year. Like we're big on like trying to get a sisterhood, family first. So I think that's really what's helping. Like our chemistry on the court is getting so much better. So it's just like easy playing with one another. Like you already know what the other person's thinking on your team. So that's always like a positive.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely. So what can we expect to see from this year's team?
Well, a lot of more wins. Definitely. We're hungry for this season. Like we want to come up like this year from 6 to be one of the top 3 teams in the Rising League. So come to all the games. It'll be a good thing to watch. So.
And you guys have your home opener this weekend.
Against Carverdale.
All right, very nice. How are you guys feeling about that game?
Excited. Like we played them there last year, but just to get a win on our home court, so to get the fans out is really big. So.
Great. Well, Simone, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. I know you just came back from practice, so thanks for having a little bit more energy to talk to us. All right, back to you guys in the studio.
Ann Etchison has basically become a household name by now, and this week she added yet another couple of honors to her growing list. Horizon League Newcomer of the Year. She also got a spot on both the All-Horizon League and the Horizon League All-Newcomer team. She's the first Rambler to get the All-Horizon League award since 2003. Freshman Brittany Brown, Stephanie Kinane, and Kathleen Vogel were named to the all-newcomer team as well. No wonder the team finished with 12 more wins than last season. Girl power.
If you followed Loyola cross country even a little bit this season, then you know that Gina Valgoy is the best the Ramblers have to offer. She finished in 6th place in the NCAA Midwest Regional Meet, which was good enough for her to qualify for this weekend's NCAA Championships in Louisville. That race is going to start at 11 a.m. on Saturday, and her coach Randy Hassenbank thinks that she has what it takes to finish in the top 40, which would be good enough to qualify her as a National All-American.
Athletic Director Grace Calhoun announced that men's soccer coach Brendan Ice will not be returning next season. She noted that with the increased budgets and facility upgrades, the athletic department is looking to get a team to a higher level of competition, and they want somebody new to lead the team there. After 8 seasons and 61 wins with Coach Eitz at the reins, they have begun their nationwide search for a new head coach. While many associate November with things like football and food, Loyola men's volleyball team wants Loyola to begin associating it with something much different. Benita Ginderella reports on how these Ramblers have found an interesting way to support a great cause.
If you happen to have seen the men's volleyball team on campus recently, you may have noticed a small change in their appearance. No, CVS isn't all out of razors. The men's volleyball team is participating in Movember. Freshman outside hitter Owen McAndrews shares exactly what his team is doing.
Basically, the whole Loyola athletic department and the Loyola men's volleyball team, we're all growing out our mustaches for Men's Health Awareness in the month of November, so hence the name Movember.
This is a cause that hits home for the Ramblers, and specifically McAndrews, as he was diagnosed with testicular cancer over a year ago.
Just to kind of bring awareness to something that's kind of not really talked about. I mean, like, you hear about Livestrong, you hear about all those kinds of organizations, but you never really hear a lot about men's health. So we just kind of wanted to raise awareness, not only in Loyola, but just kind of across Chicago, that men's health is a big deal and it's something that we should probably be talking about.
Redshirt junior Peter Gisaitis has taken on the role of team captain for the Movember group at Loyola. Currently, Loyola's network has raised over $5,000 and is ranked 36 in the nation. Gisaitis doesn't want to stop here.
I think we have the potential in terms of networks to get up to the top 20 in the nation. And I know in the athletic department we set individual goals of everybody raise $100, which seems like a lot of money, but when you send out that email to all your relatives, like just asking for $5, $10, and it's very easy to donate, they just go to your page and click donate and enter in like credit card info. You find out that almost everybody you talk to has had some experience with men's health, whether they're women, whether it was them personally, whether it was someone they knew, their parents. I found out a lot about my family and how this has like touched them. So
the team hopes to continue on this event in the future. If possible, they'd like to make a network with other Loyola institutions across the nation. As far as the response to new facial hair, the boys have gotten some mixed reviews.
My family, like, I've sent them pictures and they're just like, that thing's awful. So probably nobody's going to talk to me during Thanksgiving just because my mustache. But I don't know, I get a couple of guys.
I'd say it's a good icebreaker. People always ask like, oh, what's the deal with the mustache? And I'll see them looking at it and like making a face, and it'll just be a way for me to be like, well, I don't just normally cruise around with a mustache. Like, this is for men's health, like, this is what we're doing, this is like what we've done so far, this is how you can help if you're interested. It's so great about it. Like, breast cancer has the pink, and now everybody identifies the pink with breast cancer. We have the mustaches during this month, and people are slowly starting to identify the mustaches with our.
And as far as the best mustache grower on the team?
I mean, that has yet to be seen. Some people have more full mustaches, some people have very dirty mustaches, some people are able to grow handlebars. I'd say Kyle Nail's winning right now.
Definitely.
His handlebars are pretty full.
Pretty nice handlebar going on.
But it's definitely a marathon. We'll see what happens at the end of the month.
The last official day to donate is December 7th, and the Ramblers are working to put together a Movember party to celebrate their hard work and thank their contributors. Reporting for the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Benita Gingerella.
Well, the soccer season is over for Loyola, and Lovie Smith is making his annual appearance in the coaching hot seat, and somehow Alabama lost again. Joe Flaherty brought together a couple of expert minds to try and sort out this sports world dilemmas here. We've been having a lot of trouble getting Joe in a suit, but we finally got him. Joe, what do you have for us?
All right, Steve, I really don't know what you're talking about. I live in a suit. Anyway, past the point. I'm Joe Flaherty, here with Anna Buchanan and Courtney Griffin. We're going to see what they know about what the Rambler fans think about. All right. First question, the Tide got rolled on Saturday. They fell from the unbeatens. There's 3 left. How many unbeaten teams do you think there'll be at the end of the season?
I'm going to have to go with 0 because the last time there was an undefeated team was back in the late 70s, so I just don't think that this season can be any different.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at who we have left. We have Oregon, we have K-State, and then we have Notre Dame. And all great teams, but I'm going to go on some personal preferences here. I love Oregon, Oregon, favorite place. K-State, great place. Not so partial to Notre Dame, so I'm going to have to say just 2.
All right, let's see. Oh, all right, well, the Rambler fans, they agree. They say 2 teams, and one of them being Oregon. When the Ducks happy, I'm happy. Yeah. Next question. The men's basketball team, they're not LeBron, but they are taking their talents to South Beach for the USF tournament. How many wins do you think they'll get out of 3 games?
I'm optimistic about this. I believe that they can win all 3 games because they have already won their first 4 games. So I believe that they can carry this momentum down to Florida.
Yeah, Anna, I'm really, really optimistic about it as well. I think they've had a really solid start so far. So I'm not going to go 3. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 3, but I feel fairly confident in saying 2.
Cautious optimism.
Yeah, there you go.
I like it. All right, and the fans say 2 wins.
All right. Yeah.
So, Courtney, you get the point there.
I can make a comeback.
You can make a comeback. Let's see what you got here. The Falcons fell from the unbeatens, got their wings clipped a little bit. Who's the NFL's best team now? Are we still saying the Bears?
You know, I don't think there's a debate here. It's definitely the Bears, of course. Bears. You know, I'm from Chicago, so a little biased there, but you know, I always root for the Bears every season, so it's no different this season.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to go with Houston. I'm going to give this one to Houston, just like the Bears gave them the win on Sunday, unfortunately. I think right now, if we just look at the stats, they're the best team. It kills me that their one loss is to the Packers, but you know what? Still, I'm going to go with Houston.
All right, let's see what the Ramblers say. They say it's the Bears. I think that's some of the bias leaking through, but I'll roll with that. 7-2, they're still a really good team. Look how high Tim Jennings is getting.
Pretty good.
President of the universe. All right. So we got 2-1. Courtney, last question. Annual conversation. Lovie Smith's contract. Does he deserve an extension?
I definitely believe that he deserves an extension because he has been the Bears coach for 9 seasons now. So, and with him as a coach, the Bears have gone 78-55. So I believe that he should definitely sign that contract.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, I don't know why we are always having this debate. I mean, I love Lovie. I think Chicago loves Lovie. He's a great guy. He took us to the Super Bowl in 2006. They're having a good season. I say give him an extension, definitely.
He's the 3rd winningest coach in franchise history. Can't deny that. And the fans, 89% say yes. And that's his ecstatically happy face, by the way.
Definitely.
That's as happy as you'll see him. So let's see what the final tally is. Courtney gets 3 points. Anna, you got 2. That means Courtney wins once again.
Thank you.
Got a celebratory Gangnam style going on. All right, 2-0. 2-0 on the Ramble.
Everybody.
Back to you guys.
That's going to wrap up this week's edition of the Sports Locker. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel at Loyola RSL to catch up on whatever you missed. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at LU Sports Locker. We'll see you next week with more on what's happening in the Loyola sports world.
Well, thanks for stopping by the locker, and don't forget to turn out the lights.
And